Bourbon, Broncos, and no BS. Fans, brews, and Broncos news.
Good evening, Broncos Country. Welcome to another edition of the Bourbon Broncos and No BS post-game show. What game are we talking about tonight? None, because the Broncos didn't play any. But we have a whole season up until this point to review. And unlike previous years, guys, we have a lot of really fun and good things to talk about. It's going to be fantastic. I got Adam here with me. I got John here with me. And guys, I don't know what you're still doing in Colorado, but Sean Payton called me up personally and said, Dan, I need you to fly out to Washington, D.C. Thanksgiving week and do some scouting for us. Get a lay of the land, maybe find out some information. And anyway, that's the story I'm going with as to why I'm in D.C. But let's start talking about some things, guys. Adam first, how are you doing, sir?
I am good. What did everybody do for their bye week? I watched football, and it's always a very strange experience watching football when it's not a Broncos game because I am like super calm. I'm relaxed. I point out good things without whooping and hollering like a lunatic. I take bad plays that was bad, and just move on instead of tweeting and talking to you guys about it and hemming and hawing about what's wrong with my life. And so it was actually a very low stress day yesterday.
That's fantastic. I know, watching some of those games, it's always nice to watch a football game and not lose some years off your life from the stress-induced mini heart attacks you suffer. But yeah, John, buddy, what did you do? How was your bye week? Was it relaxing? You could go to the spa, get a massage, take your wife out, any of those kind of nice things?
Yeah, we went out, for a Sunday breakfast. It was great. And I feel much more relaxed at peace with my inner self. My mental health couldn't be stronger than it is today. And wow, I feel like I'm reconnected with my, I don't know, March, April, May type self. And it's weird to feel that way. And couldn't be happier sitting here at 9-2 to go through that experience, knowing just where we sit right now. And it's a whole different feeling than where we've been at bye weeks in previous years. And wow. You just get to, be excited for the rest of the season without having to worry. And we get to feel like we're the ones on top for once. Well, for once in the last 10 years, I should say. So it's a good bye week. It's a great bye week.
It's a good bye week. It was a good bye week. Kev, what about you, man?
Sure. And look, you
lost all kinds of things, it looks like, in your bye week. Where are you right now, Kevin?
In Washington, D.C. Out here, got friends and whatnot we're staying with. They're not Broncos fans, but I'm kind of working on that, so don't tell them, but maybe eventually they might be one. I don't know. Something about their team not winning, beating us for the last 30 years. It's like, you want to stick with them, but this is a better side. She's giving me the side eye over here. It's not going to work. But so just out here for Thanksgiving. So
that's awesome. Well,
there you go.
It's great.
Are you going to get to experience, Kev? Are you going to experience the game with them?
No, probably not. And that's okay. Look, it'd be too obvious if I was out here scouting for the team and then I went to the game too. It's like, let's maybe, keep you in the shadows a little bit. So, well, look, we got some people in the comments. Let's start talking about it. We got Jeremy. He's already up here. Look who stopped by. The 𝐁𝐫𝐤𝐳 threesome. And then Adam, on top of that, I don't know what that makes us, but
there's only
I
3
don't
people here. So I'm a
know.
little my math is bad. I'm not
Maybe
gonna
he's
I'm
saying that
not
to 2 people. I don't know.
that's not nice. That's not nice.
Look, guys, the interesting thing here as we get in this conversation of where the Broncos are is not
Mm,
just we're going to be in the playoffs, but it's starting to become a conversation of how much noise are we going to make
right?
in the playoffs.
Oh
And
yeah.
this could be something we're talking about, especially on tomorrow night's show at 7 p.m. Mountain Time when we start looking ahead. Roy, you are in here as well, dude. Good to see you as always, man.
Roy's always here.
We're gonna, just so you guys know, watching, we're going to spend tonight kind of looking back and really talking about how we got here. Tomorrow night is when we're going to start looking ahead and what the rest of the season means. And guys, I know we want to talk about playoffs. I know we want to talk about that game in February that happens that maybe you might see the Broncos in, but
Oh,
there's still 6 games in this season, and if we
yes.
lose them all, that's not good. I'm not saying that's going to happen. Very doubtful that's going to happen. But we still have work to do in front of us that we have to
Ooh.
focus on. The Broncos have to focus on, and then we can kind of start talking playoff implications and all that stuff as it gets closer. Michael, good to
Fair.
see you here in the chat, buddy. As always, guys, let's John is Kevin and Spirit Haircut. Make sure you like, share, and follow, guys. As always, here at Bourbon Broncos No BS. This stuff's all for you guys, and we're gonna keep doing it as long as you keep tuning in, just like you guys are here right now. Let's go back in time, guys. Let's go back to August preseason. Early September preseason's wrapping up, and obviously all the talk was, how good are the Broncos going to be? This was a team that was supposed to win 5 games last year, doubled that, made their way in the playoffs, and all of a sudden the conversation shifted from the Broncos are nobodies to, oh crap, we have to worry about the Broncos again. And they are proving it in fashion. But take us back, guys. Adam, start with you, man. Where was your mindset at with this team, realistically speaking, at the start of the season?
Man, I have been from the start being cautiously not even optimistic, just like I need to find a way to put a lid on all the excitement that I have, because it was the first season that we were going to have our starting quarterback come back from the previous season. It was the first time our starting quarterback was going to be in the same offense for 2 consecutive seasons. It was this defense had shown that they could be an upper echelon defense, especially with some of the additions that they brought in Hufanga and Greenlaw. So it was really hard to kind of keep the optimism and the expectations under wraps. And now that we're in the bye at 9-2, I am still in the same place of trying to manage my expectations and manage my emotions with everything, because I'm sorry. I know that we talk Broncos, we all have our Bronco glasses on, but who else is out there besides the Broncos? I mean, come on. If we're being honest, I mean, again, take everything aside. Who else is out there? Do we think that the baby Pats are gonna I mean, as I'm sorry, we got scars, we got chunks missing out of us. Like, we're as battle tested as they come. And the baby Pats are gonna do something. Same thing with the baby horses. The baby horses couldn't win in KC yesterday. So
Yep.
at the end of the day, who else is there? So yeah, I'm probably getting ahead of myself a little bit, but
No.
oh man, it feels good. It feels good being in the spot. I like being in the spot.
You're not getting ahead
And
of
this is
yourself at
look
all,
at this
Adam.
one.
You're right where you should be, I think.
All right.
This might be where our Broncos glasses catch up with reality, because I don't know. I don't see. There's a clear path for. Let's be serious, guys. The AFC is wide open, and the Broncos are the only team that control their own destiny to the #1 seed.
Yeah.
No other team can legitimately say that, and here we are. And so to go back to Kev, your question of preseason August, what were we thinking? If you told me we were going to be 9-2, I would have been like, this is a team that has fully come together. This is a team that has figured itself out. And yeah, there's plenty of things that we can criticize and talk about and critique. And sure, yes, that is all true. But if you were going to tell me we're going to be on an 8-win win streak at this point, I would have had questions. I would have been like, which of those first, aside from the Chargers, which of those first 2 teams did we lose to? I never would have guessed the Colts would have been where they are, especially after the preseason. So how could you not feel better about where the Broncos are right now after this bye and the next 2 games especially? And we're not going to get into that as much, but this is far beyond. I think my most realistic high expectations would have been about 8-3, and that would have been a kind of a stretch. But to be 9-2 feels best case scenario without being like totally over the top, 11-0. Because if you're gonna say we're 9-2, then what are the other 2? What are the 2 losses? If you told me that in August. And I would have been like, what makes us different at 9-2 than 11-0? And frankly, we're a couple of seconds away from being 11-0. So this is kind of the peak of where I thought we could have been, at this point in the season.
For sure. I think you come up with a couple good points there. Of every team has things they can compete, right? If you go back to the 2015 Broncos, that offense. You take away the name of Manning and just have that same guy, same stats, same performance, named any other name, the 2015 Broncos would have gotten so much more flack and criticism and everything like we're seeing with this 9-2 Broncos. Kind of very similar in terms of how strong and stout this defense is, and the defense is really leading the way through winning these games. It's the offense that's struggling, except it's a sophomore named Bo Nix. In essence, a nobody, right? He's not Josh Allen. He's not Patrick Mahomes. He's not this or that. He's Bo Nix, and he hasn't made a name for himself yet. So going into the season, there were concerns, like what Michael was saying. One, is Bo going to have that sophomore slump? How is that going to look? How is it going to impact the team? But then alternatively, on the defense, you guys remember there was a lot of conversation as last year ended saying it looks like teams are starting to figure out this Broncos defense, right? Teams are starting to get more yards on us, more points on us. Obviously, we still came away with wins because after the bye week was when Bo really started getting going, offense started clicking, but we saw a decrease in performance from the defense. So a lot of talk this offseason was going towards, is the defense figured out? Is Vance Joseph going to be able to change anything around, keep this defense strong and scary, or is it the same thing we've seen before and they're going to be average, right? Obviously, a couple big things. One, the signing of Dre Greenlaw, which we're just kind of starting to see the dividends for that. But more importantly, and I still 100% believe this, the most important and impactful free agent acquisition of 𝐁𝐫𝐞𝐤 came in here and has been just wrecking shop for the Broncos. And Vance Joseph's game plan has been strong and steady. So everything I was concerned about from the beginning has some of it's there on the offensive side, but defensive, guys, you couldn't ask for a better defense than this. And to be honest, we're 9-2. I got it. They're playing with the confidence of an 11-0 team.
I think you see that on the field a lot. Hufanga has actually won a very prestigious award just not that long ago. He was the winner of the defensive MVP award from us here at Orange Weekly and the Bourbon Broncos and No BS podcast. It's only been in existence 1 year, but he is the George Washington of the midseason MVP award. So Hufanga, because we know that you're listening, bro. I know you got to keep on the down low, but there you go. You're welcome. You're welcome.
I was concerned, Kevin, because I thought Hua was in your naughty list for Christmas this season. After last week, I was like, where did all this negativity come from, Kev? But Hua's been a stud.
On the naughty list. He can redeem himself, but you can't overlook all the good he's done. It's just right now, look, a kid could be really well behaved and everything, but when they act out, you still got to punish them for their behavior. And then once they redeem themselves, things can go back to being right. And so we'll get there. As soon as the defense steps on the field on Sunday, I'm sure all will be forgiven with Hufunga's first big hit. But right now, he's in trouble.
All you defensive players that are watching right now, just know you make one play that Kevin doesn't agree with, and Kevin shouldn't agree with it. It was a bad play. But just know that you're going to be on the naughty list for one play. So there's no, you got to redeem yourself after that.
Yeah. It's interesting. It's interesting. We're going to have to wait and see. No, go for it.
What do you have to wait and see about? I feel like this is a carryover from last year. Or last week.
And I'm mostly just poking and prodding and trying to keep maybe a new thing going where we, but when your team plays that well, it's like, well, who can anyway? Look, here's another good one from James here. As we kind of moved to talking about what the team was doing at the beginning of the year, to kind of what's going on now.
Okay.
Oops. There was the other one here I saw. Badoo. But that's okay. The only thing that worries me on this team is the running backs. Can they handle it until Dobbins come back in February? If Dobbins comes back, it's not going to be till February. And then do you really start him in a game, the big game, when he hasn't played for half the season? But looking back in the season and kind of taking this in a view of a post game or post first half of the season look, Dobbins did everything we asked him to do. He has carried this team as a huge part of the offense, putting up really good numbers every single week. And we all kind of knew eventually he was going to go down. But he's given R.J. Harvey the time he needed to adapt, get into the swing of things, and giving him his first chance against the Kansas City Chiefs as the starter. Not great numbers, but it's the first time, right? So, guys, from the running backs room, obviously we're not going to see any more J.K. Dobbins, but what have we seen from the other running backs this year, and what is that going to mean for us going forward?
Yeah, I mean, it's a tricky situation. You can't deny that. I mean, this is when Sean Payton's really going to have to game plan towards this, because no one that we have on our team right now can replace a J.K. Dobbins. And look, he, for me, has been the offensive player of the year through the first, 11 weeks, even though he didn't play week 11. But you can't expect Harvey as a rookie to come in. He's just not the same player as Dobbins.
Right.
And I loved what McLaughlin did this past week. He didn't have the statistical game that you saw from Dobbins, but look, this has really been the first game that we saw out of him. He may have been active for one other game, and he didn't really have any influence on that. So I liked what I saw from him, but I think Peyton's just going to have to get creative here between Bidet and McLaughlin and Harvey, and then throw in Mims, because he likes to throw him out there in the running back situation, for a handful of times a game. And it's a tough load, and it puts a lot more pressure on Bo Nix. I get it, and the offensive line, frankly. But we're going to have to overcome this loss in Dobbins. And you're right, Kev. As soon as we signed Dobbins, I didn't think he would have the impact that he did in those first 10 games. To this point, like, he was he was heading for a 1,000-yard rushing season, and
easily,
which we haven't seen in a while here. And so to miss him is huge. But look at this Chiefs game. We figured out a way to win against a very good team. A team that, I don't know, if I had to put money on it, is probably going to be in the playoffs. So, we can win without him, and we're going to have to figure that out. And the running game is going to have to get better. It just has to. Like, we can't do the same thing we did against the Chiefs in every single game. But I don't know. What are you thinking, Adam?
I mean, the running game is gonna have to look different. You're not gonna be able to do. Just R.J. Harvey is a little bit different back than Dobbins. Jaleel McLaughlin is much different than than J.K. Dobbins. Tyler Bidet is your receiving back. So I don't know that there was necessarily going to be a guy in that group that's going to have the same kind of effect that Dobbins has, where you can kind of feed him 15 to 20 times a game. That being said, I don't actually hate the way that they went about the run game during that Kansas City game and where they ran to set up the pass. So you had McLaughlin be the short yardage back, which was a little interesting. I don't know that maybe that kind of eats into Bidet's usage a little bit, but I do think that the run game can be as effective, but it's going to be a run to set up the pass versus the pass to set up the run type of dealy. So it is a little bit different, and there probably does going to have to be a little bit more of an onus on Bo Nix being a little bit cleaner. But I do think in the comments a good point was made is that we don't have like a big physical back right now without Dobbins. So does that change how you attack short yardage situations where, I mean, again, Denver is not exactly an offensive juggernaut in getting those things, and even kind of short conversions have been a bit of a sticky situation sometimes. So can this be an issue going into the playoffs where you have lower scoring games, shorter conversions that you need to convert? Yeah, potentially. But I'm also a subscriber to say that you don't count something as a problem until it's a problem, and we haven't seen it be a problem yet. So yeah, it's a valid concern, but as of right now, I don't, unless we see it come to rear its head, I don't know that you can necessarily say that that's something that's going to happen either.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a combined effort moving forward in the rushing game. I don't think we're going to have a breakout like number one back. I mean, I think it will be Harvey as our number one, but I don't think he's going to be, flirting with 100 yards a game rushing anyways. I think he's going to get a mix of almost like Kamara, right? Like where he's getting some, 50 yards rushing, 50 yards receiving, maybe on like in a good day, right? And you got to throw Bo Nix in there too, because then I could see a lot more designed runs from Bo because the dude's got legs. We know that.
Yeah, no, totally. And I think if they're able to, and look, the fact that this bye week happened now, I mean, it sucks that J.K. Dobbins went down, but we were able to survive the game against the Chiefs. And now Sean Payton has 2 full weeks to really think about how he's going to adjust this running game to keep it going. And I think it does involve a lot of Bo Nix using his legs, more quarterback design runs to keep the run game going, keep the defense honest, to open up some of those more deep threat situations there. And so it's, you don't want Bo Nix to be in a position where he gets hurt, right? So we need those guys like RJ Harvey and them to step up. And I think, again, you got to give him some time. RJ Harvey's not going to go out there this next week and put up 120 yards, right? And that's fine. I mean, we don't need him to. And comment here from Travis, if you guys thought that I was maybe being a little too hard on the Broncos, I'll let you guys read the whole thing as it covers up John's face there. You can read it in the comments. But basically, no true playmakers on the Broncos. Apparently, Travis, look, I'm not trying to call you out or make fun or anything, man, but I am going to disagree with you here because while yes, the offense has struggled, I am not denying that in any way. The fact that the Broncos we have any pick sixes this year, the turnovers aren't really happening. So the points the Broncos are getting and accruing are all coming from offense. Are they flashy and just look amazing? No, of course not. But they're doing enough. The 33 points we got in the fourth quarter, none of those came from the defense, right? When the time is important for them to step up and make this thing happen, Bo Nix is clutch, and the players he's elevating the players around him, and those guys are stepping up too. They're making good plays. They're being smart about what's going on, and they're able to close out those close games, no matter what situation they're in. And I'm telling you right now, I don't care if 3/4 of the game is ugly on the offense. If the fourth quarter they shine and they come back and they win because the defense has kept it a close game, who cares? Who freaking cares? We would like it more because, look, my beard here is going to go gray in the next several weeks at this rate.
Right.
And but look, it's stressful. It's frustrating because we see the potential of this team. We know they can do better. But at the end of the day, we're on an 8-game win streak, guys. An 8 freaking game. We're number 2 in the AFC right now, but it's because the Pats have
They
their
played
bye
one more
week
game.
this next week. So, we'll get even with them and take that number one spot. And like you guys alluded to earlier, we're in the driver's seat. And these guys, like Jonathan Cooper said after the Kansas City game, who are we scared of? Who are we scared of? I'm
Right?
telling you, these guys are ready. These guys are ready for the next
Right?
6 games and the playoffs.
Yeah.
I mean, I can see where Travis is coming from because I can be a bit of a Debbie Downer, a little bit too. But to say that it's deficit of playmakers, I would have to push back a little bit. Um, because I do think that you've seen some splash plays here and there. Is it as I don't think. I mean, obviously, it hasn't been. It hasn't been as pretty as we would like it to.
Right.
But I also want to point to maybe something that maybe hasn't been said before is that since that all the criticism that Bo got after that Thursday night game versus Vegas, and deservedly so, because he did not play very well. His bounce back game was literally the biggest game of the year up until that point, and he played flawlessly. You saw when they had a little bit of rest and kind of got past all the scheduling stuff and were able to kind of reset a little bit. The offense, while still maybe not great, did look better. They scored on 6 of their 10 offensive possessions. They looked crisper. It just looked better. So yes, I can see where you're coming from. I would have to push back a little bit, saying that while this group may not be the greatest show on turf this year, they can be respectable, and they've been respectable, especially when they needed it. So I think I see where you're going, but I think they're going to be fine.
Yeah, and here'd be my pushback. I mean, yeah, I get the argument. Like Adam said, I get it. Like, there's no one player that is the splat, like, has been that huge playmaker throughout the year, but I feel like they're all playmakers when it counts the most. I mean, look, and you don't have to look farther than this Chiefs game, and maybe we have recency bias a little bit, but
Maybe.
you have Sutton coming in huge on those third downs, and yeah, throughout the game, did he have a huge game? No, but Franklin was. I mean, look, Franklin's over 500 yards for the year so far. I mean, that's way ahead of schedule if you ask me. I mean, yeah, we haven't had that Mims, thing that we had last year where he's making these, 80-yard, catch and run plays, but I'm sorry, like, they just all are coming through when it matters most. And if you're gonna ask me who is that one person that is that it's Bo Nix. In the fourth quarter, he seems to figure out how to get it done. And so, if you had to say who is that one like splash player, it's Bo Nix for me. And he figures out a way to get it done. And it hasn't been pretty, I get it, but when we need it, he's been getting it done. And there's been a lot of games where we've needed it. And granted, a lot of that you can blame on him. He needed it in the fourth quarter, but when the job needs to get done, he is there and he delivers. So, but aside from all that, you know who the real splash players are? The entire defense, including Vance Joseph, and especially Vance Joseph. Like, they are all unsung heroes because you can't point to like one single player. Yeah, maybe Bonito because he's leading us in sacks. Maybe, all these other guys that are pressuring the quarterback on every single play. But those are our splash players because no teams have been able to figure us out. And I don't know, the more I'm talking, I think Vance Joseph is our splash player, so to speak. So, you got to give it up to the defense that's keeping us. I know everyone wants to talk about offense, but this defense is good enough to get us literally to the Super Bowl if we need to. So, I hope the offense comes around and, we don't have to rely on the defense to get us there, but we've literally seen this before 10 years ago. And
yes,
I'm okay with that. I'm okay if the same outcome happens.
Yeah. I mean, it is. It's a very ugly method of winning games, but it's a proven method of winning games. And if you keep building that muscle memory of, getting in a hole 4 down, 3 down, 2 down, where you need that score in the fourth, this team doesn't blink is not. I mean, if you want to talk about what teams are gonna do in the postseason, that's my biggest critique about the Pats. Is that are the Pats a good team? Sure, whatever. But you come to Denver, if you got to come to Denver and you need a scorer in the fourth against us, like, dog, this ain't the regular season anymore. This is where it counts now. And if we've been in more situations like that, we can draw on that experience. Teams like the Pats can't. We saw what the Colts did yesterday, peeing down the side of their leg in front of the big bad Chiefs. So, I'm not. Again, I'm not sweating anybody else because I know what we have here.
Yeah. And so,
That's fair.
Travis, my last pushback to you, man, we could go get the top of the top. Let's just say we had it your way, buddy. Let's just say ownership went out there and got George Pickens, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, and somehow these teams wanted to release them, and we got them and we were able to afford them. Let's say that. Let's say that essentially replicated the 2013 Broncos offense. How did that end for us, guys? As amazing as the 2013 Broncos offense was, as many records as they broke, as many points as they put up per game, how did that end for us? So, defense wins championships. Broncos offense, yes. Can it be better? For sure. But there's no need to panic. These guys know what's going on. And when clutch time comes around, they step up.
I'll take those, by the way. It'd be nice.
Yeah. It'd be nice. but
Like, we could do both. We could just be dominant on defense and offense. That'd be amazing.
Look, I'll take what I can get right now and an 8-game win streak.
I like your analogy, Kevin. I like your analogy. I knew where you're going.
I'm just saying. But look, from Gus, Harvey will have a breakout game Sunday night. There's confidence in the fan base, and the players have it as well. And we've seen from the rookies and these young players, when their number gets called because of an injury or something, routinely these guys step up. And so you very well could see that from RJ Harvey and the rest of the team. But, we're getting some guys back and all that stuff. It's going to be fantastic. Before I head out for the night, guys, and hand you over to the very capable hands of Adam and John, let me go through some halftime announcements, guys. First off, yes, I did cut back the beard a little bit. I wanted to look presentable, and scary for the Commanders fans out here. They're like, oh yeah, even the Broncos fans are scary, looking, and just, it's not a terrifying message. I'm just making things up. I don't know. But let's get through this, guys. So grab your orange slices, go get some Gatorade as we break down the halftime stuff here at Bourbon Broncos No BS. First off, it is our 10th anniversary. If you didn't see a little thing in the corner of the screen here that says 10th anniversary, we're doing it right, guys, and we're going to make sure that you guys get involved. I've been saying all season long, if/when the Broncos hit 10 wins on the season, and we're one win away, we're going to be giving away 3 Bo Nix jerseys. So the way you can win those, guys, the Tuesday night show, and the Tuesday night show starts at 7 p.m. Mountain Time. The Tuesday night show after our 10th win, you're going to have to come on the show, type in the comments, whatever I tell you to type in to get entered. And at the end of the show, we'll be doing that drawing for the 3 Bo Nix jerseys. So that could be very well this next upcoming Tuesday night after tomorrow, after the game. Anyway, but make sure you're there, guys, because we are dying to give away these jerseys in celebration of our 10th anniversary for you guys. Also, like I said, Tuesday night show, 7 p.m. Mountain Time. Make sure you tune in for that tomorrow. We'll kind of recap the first half of the season again a little bit more, and then start looking ahead to this next week's competition, if you want to call them that, against the Washington Commanders. But maybe I'm getting a little too cocky. We'll see. But look, the Broncos are in a good position. They're looking strong, and we are here for it. So in order to get ready for that game on Sunday night, guys, first, what you're going to want to do is listen to the Bourbon Broncos No BS pre-game podcast on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, SoundCloud, wherever you listen to your podcast. We are there. So make sure you go follow us there and look out for the pre-game podcast. Also on game day, we are live 1 hour before kickoff, breaking down all the information leading up to the game, inactives list, blah, 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 whatever you have in order to get ready for kickoff. As soon as halftime starts, you can count on us to be live because we are the original live halftime show. That is the halftime hash. Make sure you tune in, share your instant reactions in the first half of the game, and have a good time. Maybe sometimes in the first half we're like releasing a lot of anger and frustrations. But either way, it's a fun time. Make sure you guys tune in for that. And then lastly, go on over to broncosandbourbon.com. Like Adam said, we now have the very official and highly desired prize or the announcements of the MVP, right? In these different categories and everything. So you guys are going to want to go over there and see how we ranked all the different players who we put up for MVPs in the different categories. And to those players, your official awards, little plaques, or we sent out to you guys later. So appreciate to all the Broncos players that listen in to the podcast. They're just going to get this plaque and they're going to be like, what is this? Who are these guys and how they get my address?
They'll know.
They'll know.
And then I'll knock on the window and say,
hi, you like it? You like it? So great stuff, guys. Let's get back into it. With that, I have a ton of scouting stuff I have to put together for Sean Payton. He says it's deadline and everything like that. He's itching to get. I said, sir, I have to do the show first. The fans are important. So, but I'm going to go wrap that up while you guys enjoy the rest of the conversation with Adam and John. Adam and John, thank you very much, guys, for everything. But keep it up, and we will see you later, okay?
Love you.
Hey, take it easy. Take good notes.
Yeah.
We'll do. As always, go Broncos, guys. We'll catch you later.
All right. Well, John, since we're talking Broncos.
Get out of here, Ted. Get out of here.
Dude.
This is our show now. Your screen's still up. Get out of here.
Get out of here.
He doesn't know how to leave. He doesn't know how to do it. What do you got? What do you got?
Anyway, so we're at the bye week. What has been probably your highlight of the season and maybe low light of the season so far?
Yeah, good question. I mean, the highlight, all of that game last week, if I'm just thinking about, okay, what just makes me believe in the Broncos for the rest of, it's that entire last game, because I'm sorry, but I felt like the better team won last week, and
1,000%.
I don't think it was as close as a last-minute field goal. We talked about it last week, and the way we dominated them on, frankly, both sides of the game. We scored on a majority of our drives. They kept us out of the end zone. I get it. That's what they can do. Guess what? We can do it just as well, if not better. Definitely better. Sorry. And so that whole game was, I was not freaking out at any point in that game. I got to the point in that game where I was like, I'm going to be so freaking annoyed if we don't win this game, compared to the Chargers game, for example, where I was like, we should not be in this game, and somehow we're finding a way to almost win it at least go into overtime if it doesn't come down to a last-minute kick. So for me, it comes down to that whole Chiefs game. Maybe the Dallas game too, but and don't get me wrong, I was nervous going into that Dallas game because of the high-powered offense, and our defense needs to respond, and our offense just showed up in that game. So that Dallas game just showed me we can show up when we need to on offense, particularly against a weaker opponent, which, not to get ahead of my, we're looking at the last 11 weeks, but for this weekend gives me hope for this week when we're going up against a weaker defensive opponent, that this should be, and on paper it is, an easy win. And so I want to see that same offense that came against the Cowboys. And so just give me that for the highlight. And then the low light, man, it's weird because we're on this 8-game win streak.
It is finding a weird, a little bit.
Am I going to go back to the Colts? Am I going to go back to the Chargers? There was a lot of low lights in that Charger game for sure, because that's when I felt like we were outmatched, even though it came down to a last-minute field goal. But I guess that would have to be the low light. There's a lot of low lights I could bring up for the offense.
There's a lot of little lowlights.
But we're recapping like the first 11 games, so I guess it's fair to say that Chargers game really was hard, especially after a close game against the Colts, which at the time I did not think the Colts were the Colts that we know them to be today. So that Chargers game, when we just felt so out of it for most of it. But honestly, if you look forward, okay, so that's the low light. But if you look forward from that third week, like a lot of our games have gone that way, and we found a way to win, which is honestly might be a good thing at the end of the day for us. Like for our team to figure out how to win these games, like that might be a strength for these Broncos to be. You don't want to have the Pats where you're like easily winning. Like again, similar to the Colts, I did not think the Pats would be 9-2 at this point.
Also true.
10-2. Sorry, 10-2 at this point. But they've had a very easy schedule, and any like that. That's not me being biased at all. So, like, they don't know how to win tough games. I mean, because how could they? Because they haven't played a tough game. Like, it's not their fault. They're beating who they're playing, but I'd rather be in our position than where the Patriots are right now.
Exactly. And I actually talked to a couple Patriots fans over the weekend, and I think that their concern is kind of the same thing. They don't want to come out and say it because they do. Where I see the Pats, and I don't want to talk too much about them because this is a Broncos podcast. The Pats kind of remind me a little bit of where the Broncos were in the same situation last year. Young up and coming quarterback, got a couple pieces, solid defense, just haven't been tested yet. So, and again, I would rather face them this year than next year, when they do have a little bit more experience under their belts. So, we were talking about this earlier in the podcast. You look at the rest of the teams in the AFC, and I'll get with my highlight here in a second, is you look at the Pats. I mean, the inexperience is a big thing, and it's an even bigger thing. It gets magnified in the postseason when it's one and done, and they don't have that experience. Denver does. You go to the Colts again. They had that game won if they had played not to lose that second half. If they had played not to lose that second half, you have an MVP candidate in Jonathan Taylor. You ran him 15 times when you were ahead. That is not savvy offensive football. I'm sorry. Let's see. Fourth is what, the Texans? No, it's Colts. The Steelers are fourth. Give me a break. I'm sorry. That's not a legit challenge either. So, I mean, all of those teams are going to have to come to Denver if everything holds serve. So, even if all things are being equal, we get that game at home, and I like our chances. I like our chances against anybody at home. So, I know I've kind of been talking for a little bit, but highlight and low light, I think it's kind of.
Give me the answer to your own question.
I just throw out the chum. I don't.
This is like Kevin does.
Yeah.
Like Kevin does. He never answers the question.
That's the only way that I've learned how to do this so far. Sorry. Anyway, highlight for me, and I think it's been in the last 2 weeks. The low light of the season was that horrible win versus Vegas, where it really turned into like who was going to get the ball last and who was going to do just enough not to screw it up. That's kind of what it felt like. And those are the wins that you don't feel great about. But again, you saw the character of this team, the resolve of this team, and ultimately who they have at quarterback by having a completely different performance in the game following, which, I mean, let's talk about it. It's the highlight of the year. The Chiefs have been our boogeyman for God knows how long now. And it seems when the game is the biggest, that's when they find a way to come back. Yeah. And they didn't. The defense held serve. Offense came up with enough plays to make it passable. And they were, like what you were saying, John, they were convincingly the better team from start to finish. So I
In a
mean,
game that the Chiefs needed to win, like this was a must-win game for the Chiefs. At the time. Now every game is a must-win for them, but like they had more at stake in that game than we did, for sure.
I mean, you have Vegas having us as a 3-point underdog in our own house. So, I mean,
well, most of the country agreed with that. I don't think there are very many analysts in the country that were saying this is the Broncos win. I'm just saying, like, it could have very easily been a 10-point win for the Broncos if you go back and watch that game.
I mean, I don't think that's that I don't think it's that far out of the realm of a possibility, especially when there was a pick six on a play where there's illegal contact somewhere, but that drive took points off the board, and Kansas City scored on that drive. So
I won't get into my feelings about Riley Moss penalties, but
well, hey, if we're talking lowlights, is there a person? I mean, because Riley Moss has really come up a lot in conversation. I know that I've talked about it because I think that we can say that he's targeted, but I don't know about liability. And the liability word has been thrown out a little bit on this show and in other forums. So my guess with I guess kind of opening that discussion would be, if we're talking about a guy that maybe worries you going into the second half, is a guy like Riley Moss, like is the bill coming due on that at some point?
I don't think so. Personally, I think that he plays at a very high level. I think he's still rated as a very high level cornerback in this league. And that's not just me talking. I think that's like a Pro Football Focus rating on him. It's still very high. I mean, you can correct me on that. I could be wrong, but you have the penalties against him. I get that, and I'm not saying he's an angel by any means. Like, there are plenty that you can say, yes, that's a penalty. And even in the Chiefs game, even though I went on a long rant about this last week, like what frustrates me is that it seems like if it's a 50-50 call, it goes against him. And it becomes not a 50-50 call. It becomes he is going to get called every time. And whatever, okay. Can you call it? Yes. Okay, then fine. It's a penalty. But is he still playing at a high level overall?
Yeah.
I think so. Especially when Pat Surtain is coming back this week.
Thank you.
He's in the most difficult situation a cornerback can be in, being against the former, defensive player of the year in Pat Surtain. And he's going to get thrown at. And he called it out himself. He said, I can do better. I cannot put myself in a position where it's even possible to be called. That's a lot to ask out of him. It is. Like,
yeah.
But and he's owning up to it. So I appreciate where he's coming from. From a liability standpoint, though, like going forward, I'm not worried about him specifically because I trust this defense wholeheartedly. Now, if I'm going against the Broncos going forward, I'm throwing to Riley Moss any passing play I'm going to throw to him. If it's third and long, I'm definitely throwing to him because I know there's a decent chance that they're going to call a flag. And that's what I would do if I'm the offensive coordinator, if I'm the quarterback. So, but aside from that, I'm like, who's your liability? Is there a liability? Where do you see that?
On the defensive side of the ball, I'm saying because I don't know.
That's the easiest one. On offense, I guess running back.
Anybody? Defensively, I don't like the characterization of liability. Because liability means a lot of
number one defense.
Yes. Liability means a lot of not nice things. Even you made the point when Darrelle Revis was at his peak, and Antonio Cromartie saw a ton of traffic on the other side. Was Antonio Cromartie a liability? No. Was he targeted? That's different. Guy still came up with 10 picks and played pretty good defense. If we're kind of going deeper into that, Andre Goodman was the corner opposite Champ Bailey. And Andre Goodman, not the corner that Riley Moss is. Nobody ever called Andre Goodman a liability. Andre Goodman was not as good as Riley Moss. Andre Goodman was targeted, not a liability. So to go to the extremes of one day it's going to be a penalty, one day it's going to cost us, that's defeatist. I'm sorry. You're looking for a thing, and then once the thing happens, then you're saying, "Ha ha! See, I told you."
Yeah.
And I don't subscribe to that.
Yeah.
But if there is a low light of the season, I think it has been something that we talked about. Where is Evan Ingram going to fit into this offense? Because Evan Ingram was supposed to be the security blanket for Bo Nix and being able to kind of give him that extra option. And that hasn't come to fruition at all.
Yeah, he's supposed to be like a potential Joker player, and I think Joker is dependent on the position they're playing, because a Joker in Kamara is a different than a Joker in the tight end they have that I'm drawing a blank on right now in the Saints.
Troutman?
No. It doesn't matter. Anyways.
Oh, whatever. Okay.
He's not the same player, and no. But to your point, yes, Evan Ingram. I don't understand how they haven't figured out a way to get him involved into the offense, and we have seen it in recent weeks. Like, he has come up clutch, especially in third down. Like, Evan Ingram and Sutton have been kind of the clutch third down guys in recent weeks, which I love. I love to see that. I just want to see more from Ingram throughout the game when it doesn't come down to a 5-yard, 3rd and 5 play.
Yeah.
Let's get ways to get him more into the offense, on a mismatch, so that he's getting, a 20-yard play, a 30-yard play. I don't know. But we haven't seen that. And for the type of money we're paying him, like, we hired him to be a mismatch, and we have not gotten that out of him. And now we're bringing in, Mercedes Lewis, which is like the most hilarious thing to me that he is on our team right now, because the guy is ancient. Like, he's the same draft class, I think, as Jake Cutler.
Let's not call 41 ancient here, John. There is some
in NFL terms, he's pretty ancient. Don't get me wrong, I love it. Like, he's still playing at a high level for what he's doing. Like, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but he's at the same position. Like, and I know he's not the same skill set. I get it, but I don't know. It's just, I'm sorry to go down the Mercedes Lewis train there for a little bit. Back to my point. We need more out of Evan Ingram, and I don't actually blame. Okay, I kind of blame Evan Ingram because he has way too many drops at this point in the season. He's like the worst tight end in drops right now. Like, that's a fact. Just percentage wise, and we need to see more from him. And that hasn't. I don't think that's been a problem in his career, and it's been his whole offense kind of from time to time. So maybe if we get more confidence, maybe we can get that going for the last 6 games, because this is the time of year last year where Bo Nix started going off. Mims certainly went off last year at this point. So maybe we can develop this offense and just accelerate from here, especially after the bye week and coming up to, on paper, weak opponents in Washington and in Las Vegas, where we can get our offense really going.
Yeah. And I think that's also important to kind of keep that in mind as well, is that when they had the break, that 10-day break, I really think that they looked a lot better on offense. And I know that sometimes that kind of gets lost in just like, you see the points, you see the yards, that equals good. But I think with this, what you saw on Sunday is going to be more, or last Sunday is going to be more in line with what I think you're going to see for the remainder of the season. And I'll also point out that a lot of the times that they struggled on offense was against defenses who were pretty good. I know we don't want to talk about the Jets. I mean, and the Jets are bad. Jets defense is actually not that bad. And this is before they lost.
At the time, they weren't.
At the time. I mean, you got. I mean, Kansas City came in with what, the 5th ranked defense,
like a top 5 defense,
and on a win streak.
That was refreshing to see. Very refreshing to see.
And for all the ways that they've, put it to us with, the opportunistic defense or the back-breaking play that just seems to get us every single time, never happened. If anything, if you saw a team kind of melt down a little bit, and maybe when the pressure got a little much, Kansas City had 2 possessions to put that game away and didn't. And when Denver needed those possessions on offense, they came up with them. So, I mean, we can talk about style points, and style points are great, but there are no style points in winning either. So, I mean, it is kind of 6 dozen in one hand and, half a dozen in the other. But again, I got to go back. This is a proven recipe on how to win games. And yeah, maybe it's not the most aesthetically pleasing, but it doesn't need to be either. So.
No, I mean, unfortunately, we said it more than we want to say it. A win is a win. But when you win 8 games in a row, no one's going to look back at that Raiders game. No one's going to look back at that Jets game and be like, well, they shouldn't have won that, or they shouldn't have played it that close, blah, 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 blah. A win is a win, and we are 9-2 on an 8-game winning streak. Like, this is a legitimate team that, teams should fear. And to your point, like the Raiders defense, middle of the league. We did not compete against them. Unfortunately, we have a tendency, at least on offense, to kind of play to our opponents a little bit. And so that's why I am looking forward to this weekend's game, because Washington is bottom of the barrel when it comes to defense. Like they're bottom 5 in pretty much every category. And so I want to see the same dominance that we saw against the Cowboys. Yes, we're away, which, by the way, we haven't talked about this. We have 6 games remaining, 3 away, 3 at home. Those 2 away games, 1 is in Washington and 1 is in Las Vegas. So when we talk about like where we're going to be after week 18, I mean, to have 2 away games in very, again, on paper, winnable situations, like I want to see the same dominance this week. If we scratch away a win, we will be talking about it. My thought is the NFL is week to week, and we are going to criticize, critique, and praise, on a week to week basis. But as long as we win this week, that's number 1. But number 2, I do want to see a dominant performance, especially after a bye week against this, this defense that is struggling, frankly. So
since we got a couple minutes before the hour, so let's maybe talk about what our thoughts are going to be for the, not too much because we don't want to take away from the Tuesday night show, but what are we thinking as far as maybe not specifically about Washington, but how the rest of the year is going to line up? For me personally, I mean, the second half of the season does, on paper anyway, does not look as foreboding as the first half of the season, with the crazy travel trips, an overseas game, a Thursday night game, which Thursday night games are a pox on good football. Please spare us from the Thursday night game. So, I mean, you see who we got coming after the bye. I mean, Jaden Daniels and the Commanders look like a stern test after the bye. Now that doesn't seem like it's going to pan out. The Raiders look like they're making Cabo plans. So, I mean, again, they might as well be. It would be a better use of their time, if we're being honest. But John, I guess, how are you feeling about the second half of the season?
Like, if we're not 11-2, if we're talking in, I don't know, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever, split in half, whatever it is, and we're not 11-2, there will be questions. But that being said, there's no reason to believe that this team isn't fighting for the number 1 seed, frankly, in the AFC.
Absolutely.
Which, again, go back to August. If I was going to be saying this at this point in the season, I would have been elated. But,
right.
if we're 10-3, or I can't imagine we weren't losing back-to-back games with this schedule. But I predict that we're going to be 11-2 at a minimum, and then we have back-to-back home games against the Packers, which that's a tough game, but we're at home.
Tough but winnable.
Very winnable. The Packers seem to be, you don't know who's going to show up. And then the Jaguars, which I thought that was an easy win at the start of the season, but they seem to be coming on.
A little bit.
Again, at home. So, and then we go the last 2 weeks against Chargers, Kansas City and then Chargers. I do not feel crazy saying that we could be 15-2 with this schedule. And I think the only reason we might not be 15-2 if we keep on this progression is because we rest our starters in week 18 against the Chargers, and the Chargers have a lot more to play for in that week than we do. So 14-3 would probably be my official prediction going forward. And
well, you already made it official.
I don't think it's outlandish because I think this team is that good, especially with this defense. And what's more important to me is how this offense finishes out the season. And I need them to look more like how they looked against this Chiefs team last week to make me feel comfortable going in. At this point, we're talking about what do we look like in the playoffs?
Yeah.
Because we're essentially a lock for the playoffs, and we're getting very close to a lock for the division. So we're going to start to have those conversations very seriously here.
Yeah. And James makes a good point. We don't want the Broncos to overlook the Redskins.
I agree.
And I think
any given week, James, that's very true.
That's very true. But I think if there's a way to counter that, I don't know that the Broncos have really overlooked anybody so far. I think they've given every team their best. And while
I think the Raiders might be the one.
That's fair.
Maybe.
But again, seeing as much travel and with all the things kind of lining up at the same time, man, that was just a rough week.
I feel like the first week that we were had a full week, and it was just like, what the fuck was that?
Right. Well, we are at the end of our time. So with that being said, let's get to some of the particulars. Tomorrow, do not forget to tune in because you have great peeps over at the Tuesday night show, the flagship show, the standard show. Not because they're better, just because they were here longer. And don't forget to tune into them 7:00. Bourbon Broncos and OBS, the flagship show. Do not forget about our contest. So when the Broncos they reach 10 wins, tune in for the following show, and there will be a contest will be had where a certain jersey bearing the name of a certain player will be distributed. Not distributed. They'll be given away as prizes. And then as always, we have halftime hash, the tailgate talk 1 hour before the game, and halftime hash where it's like group therapy but online. And we talk football and we have a lot of fun. So since we're at the end of the show, we have our closing thoughts. John, what do you want to impart on us before we head out?
No, I mean, kind of what I was just saying. I want this week to be just not even a close game. I've asked for it before from the Broncos. They haven't delivered at times. Unfortunately, they've made what should be easy games look frustrating and maybe give me an aneurysm or two. But yeah, just give me just a blowout game against this team that is struggling, and I feel bad for the Washington, fans, because they had such a good year last year, and they're in, they're bottom of the barrel right now, and I don't think that Jaden Daniels will play in this game just because why would they rush him back? Why would they rush him back to play against this defense? That seems silly. And so it seems like an easy win. Let's get an easy win, for, what feels like the first time, even though it's not the first time, but this season. And let's continue this win streak at least one more week. And go from there. What do you think, Adam? What's your closing thoughts?
So I'm gonna balance that against I am not picking them against Washington. I do think that they will come out with a dub on Sunday. However, as the win streak gets longer and longer, I would like the Broncos to have a clunker in there at some point. And let me explain why.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
I do not want them to go into the playoffs on this. I mean, that would be a how many game win streak at that point?
14. I think 14.
I want them to know what it feels like to lose one time before the playoffs start.
Here's the thing. Can I interrupt you for a second?
Sure.
Because Sean Payton keeps this team humble. And so I don't think that they are riding this the way we are as fans. And I think they are staying humble as F. I don't want to say that. Anyways.
It's not a family show.
and we haven't talked about this at all, but Sean Payton is the biggest reason why we are in the position we are in right now. Okay. Sorry to interrupt you, Adam. Go ahead.
With that being said, it's just so many things. If it were a 3-game series, I don't know that I would be too worried about anybody in a 3-game series. But unfortunately, the playoffs are one and done, and just stuff happens. So I would really like them to get the stuff out of the way, so that way that can be like the final preparation before we go into the games that actually really do count. Because if we're again looking at it realistically and plausibly, those last 2 weeks of the season may not mean a ton. And I could easily see a scenario where those 2 games are now just maintenance preseason games. And for a team that lost a game 70-20 not that long ago, to be in the situation 2 years later of being the number 1 seed in the conference and ready to have a first round bye. What a time to be alive.
What a freaking turnaround.
It doesn't happen often.
But I'm assuming you don't want that if it means we don't get the number 1 seed. You don't want one loss if it doesn't mean the number 1 seed.
That is true. But 6 games, a lot can happen in 6 games. A lot can happen in 6 games.
We're far from it, but
far from there, yeah.
I don't want us to have a humbling game and it cost us the number 1 seed.
That's fair.
I get where you're going, but
what if it makes this
the situation, to be clear? But
maybe
we can lose 1 or 2 of these final 6 games and still get the number 1 seed. But which is I can't believe we're having this conversation.
I like bringing up the other side of the coin there, John. But unfortunately, we are at that time where we need to say our goodbyes. So as I said before, this is a great time to be alive as a Broncos fan. After being in the wilderness for a little bit, it looks like that we're getting ready to maybe enter the promised land one more time. So with that being said, from myself, from John, from all the boys here, we want to wish you guys a very happy Thanksgiving. And as always, go Broncos. Let's go.
Go Broncos.
All right, guys. Catch you later.
Do what I like, yeah, I do what I like, yeah, I do what I like. Sip and go, sip is right, and I go with the flow, yeah, I go with the flow, yeah, I go with the on the floor.